Hey traders, welcome for another live technical analysis session for the London Open. About 4 minutes until the market opens, and when we do reach 8 a.m. Over in the UK, we do see quite a bit of volume entering into the market, which is really good. So I'll quickly go through all of the things that I'm looking at today. We can see that there has been a huge trend reversal on the GBP USD. Of course, my charts have a substantial amount of boxes resting around, and these are just trying to capture high probability areas of where demand zones are resting and where liquidity is resting. And this gives me a good understanding of where the market might go and where the market may reverse back into. So at the moment, we have just entered a key potential liquidity zone that was resting on the 4 hour. I think this was also on the daily. Yes, this was also a daily liquidity zone as well. I've locked this box. And we're already beginning to see a bit of a reaction here. The issue is if we head over to the DXY, we are seeing that yes, the price has entered an unverified weekly demand zone, and this is likely going to indicate the price wants to reverse back into the upside. But I'm trying to be a little bit hesitant here because I have been working with one of our trainers and they have highlighted this area as the potential uh, zone where the DXY is likely going to retrace back to before moving down even more. And so if that is the case, if there is a slight retracement before the price pushes down and ultimately this is where it's going to reverse, then on the GBP USD, we are likely not going to see the price come back down to any of our demand zones at this point in time. It is likely going to continue up into this potential target area. So I would likely today, I will be looking for a short-term long position. And what I'll be looking for is on the hourly or the 15-minutely, I will have my confirmation lines to tell me if the candle breaks above this line and it's a full body break. This could indicate a potential long position, but it'll be a very tight long. And then what I want to wait and do is see at where what happens when the price retraces back into this area. And if we see the price retrace into this area and there is a rejection and we see that the price then wants to reverse, then I'll be looking for a short position. So today, that is basically all I'll be looking at for the time being. If the price does retrace back into the downside, then the highest probability area is this area here where it will retrace into before then pushing itself aggressively up into this area. So that'll be very ideal for me because if the price does come down to this previous newly formed demand zone, from this area, this would be a much more nicer price point to enter a long position. Then I can go for a much higher risk to reward ratio. So that's what I'm looking at for the GBP, and that's why I'm a little bit mindful because of what's happening on a DXY. If we head over to the Euro US dollar, same thing has happened. It has come up to a very key price point. It's a very interesting area because in theory, the price has it's come up into this unverified supply zone, and it seems to be having quite a sharp reaction here. And we can also determine that there is slight liquidity resting above this area. And so in theory, we're seeing this beautiful price action on the 4-hour time frame with this strong rejection candle pushing itself into the downside. In theory, this is supposed to now push itself into the downside. But as I said, on the DXY, we're likely going to see a short-term pullback to around this area before it pushes itself down. Remember, if the DXY goes down, everything else goes up, aside from gold. And so we want to make sure that when that does happen, that we are not seeing the DXY pulling itself back up just so it can go down lower, and then we'll get tricked. And so I am actually bullish, of course, on the euro dollar today. I'd want to wait for a nice break of structure into the upside from here, or a break of structure into the downside from here. But I would not be looking for a short position. I would not be looking for a short position. I would be waiting to see what the price does when it, I guess, retraces to the yearly open, or if we drop down to the hourly. I think we have a very similar setup on the euro dollar as we do with the GBP USD. I would like to see what happens when it enters the zone. And if it continues into downside, and then it's a missed opportunity, that's perfectly fine. If it comes down and then there is a strong reaction to the zone, this could be our tap in zone to tell us, okay, this is where we want to get into for that long position, targeting a previous higher high. And I'll draw that out in a bit. USD, JPY, yeah, very similar. Again, very similar type of scenario. We are seeing that this is beginning to push itself up. This is, I guess, a verified demand zone now because verified demand zone because we saw the price enter into this zone and we saw this beautiful rejection candle. And this beautiful rejection candle signals to us that, yeah, the zone is validated. And so the next time the price re-enters into this area, we are likely going to see another reaction, which is very, very good. So for the time being, the JU, the USD, JPY, I am certainly bullish on, bearish on, and again, I'm just waiting to see whether or not the price does re-enter into this tap in zone. If it does, then I'll be looking for a short position and targeting the lows down here. So JU is not one that I. Why is it the USD JPY? Let's what's happening here? I'm a little bit confused why it came out that way. It's okay. I'll take a look at that in a bit later. Okay, let's head over to gold. Let's see what's happening with gold today. It has been performing beautifully. In fact, it has been doing a wonderful job entering our technical analysis and reacting to the zones we want it to react at. Remember, we started looking at the gold's push into the upward trend back around here. And we saw this massive push into the downside. We then saw a beautiful, I'm on the 4-hour time frame, by the way, guys. We saw this beautiful push into the upside. It came back down, and then it pushed itself again up, creating this newly formed demand zone, right? And this is just textbook. It's so beautiful. It came up, broke that market structure, and then we can see that it created this new zone, and the price came back into this zone. That's our tap in. You could have waited for this full body break. You would have then entered that position trying to target these previous highs, and it worked so well. And so if any of you have been following, you would have been doing very, very well. And then we see that the price does go up there. It grabs that liquidity, and because it has done this, it had created another zone. And so the price retraced back to the zone. That would be our tap in zone again, and targeting the previous highs up here. And now we're just in this kind of consolidation. We can see that the price has come back down to one of these unverified area of demands. It's actually now a verified area of demand. I have not been updating. I did not update my chart today. This is a verified area of demand. Make that a little bit more green. So you can see it came in, and another rejection candle was formed here, and this could have been your tap in if you're on the lower time frames. In fact, let's just drop down to those lower time frames. My goodness, wow, look at what happened there. Yeah, and then you could have used one of these previous highs, one of these previous highs as your full body break into the upside. You might have wanted to wait a little bit longer. You wanted to see what happened here, and then use maybe this full body break and put your stop just below here, going in for that long position. And now we are again have just entered or liquidity was then taken again from these previous highs. Let me drop back out to the 4-hour frame. You can see that from that zone, the price came back up. It then took that liquidity, and now it's pushing itself back into the downside. And we are now waiting to see whether or not the price returns to this area here. So I'm actually just waiting for gold to come to this potential long tap in zone, and we'll enter into that position, maybe targeting these highs over here. Okay, so that's my play today. I'm bullish on gold. I'm bullish on gold. Technicals are all pointing toward a bullish gold at the moment. Could be wrong. Been wrong before many times. BTC USDT. Okay, again, played very nicely into our technicals. This was certainly a financial instrument I truly dislike trading, but it played very nicely into our technical analysis. Again, you can see that the price came down. It then had a pullback to this area and then pushed itself up, breaking market structure. And this created this newly formed demand zone. And so all we were waiting for was the price to retrace back here, waiting for a nice full body break of structure into the upside, which we got here on the 4-hour. And that would have been just a lovely enter. I wouldn't have entered that much. I wouldn't have been that accurate. I would have likely have done something like this, targeting the highs here. That would have been like a 1 to 1.43 risk to reward ratio. I certainly would not have anticipated that. Unless, I mean, if we aligned it, oh, okay, I guess it's kind of gone up to this previous high. I wouldn't have taken that risk. It was just too. It's just we're in such a odd industry at the moment, odd market at the moment, so I wouldn't have taken that risk. But yeah, so you can see that it's gone up. I haven't drawn it out here yet, but it seems as though it is having quite a reaction here to this price point here on the 4-hourly. It looks like it, yeah, I mean, if you came up, you target that, you took that as your liquidity zone, you would then be able to see that the price is reacting, and you could have shorted there. I would be waiting on this. I would be waiting to see what is happening here. So does this become an actual demand zone, and how we can prove that that's a demand zone is if we see a nice full body break into the upside from here. If we see that full body break, so if it comes up and it breaks this level, I would be waiting for it to retrace back into there before then going up, right? So I am doing nothing with BTC as I usually do. I do not like trading this instrument at all. But we are certainly changed direction. We are in a bullish, we can see bullish momentum on the 4-hour. On the daily, we are bearish. So this is a very bearish market on the daily. So we definitely want to see what is going to happen, especially when it hits this EMA. That's why maybe the price could come up to about here, I think, and then the EMA, and then we'll likely see a bit of a bounce, and we'll then have to see what happens with that bounce. If we see that bounce and it can instead it continues into the upside, this will be your next level, which will be the 90,000 level. You'll probably see another bounce here. It will pull itself back, and if the trend really does change into the upside, then we are likely going to use this here as our change of character, and we can then safely assume the market, safely say the market has now changed direction into the upside on BTC. So that would be my analysis on BTC at the moment. Let's just jump back to GBP USD. Drop down to the 15-minute frame. So we'll go to DXY. Right, okay. Oh, still, it's not full body break. I'm on the 15-minute frame, by the way. I'm on the DXY. It's not a full body break yet, right? So this is just invalid for the time being. It is a break of structure, but it's not a full body break. And because I'm on the 15-minute frame, that's not really something you want to see. Um, just hoping that I'm hoping that the price comes up, full body breaks above here, and then I'll be confident in knowing that the price is likely going to have a reaction when it comes up to here. And that will play so nicely in my strategy for GBP USD, Euro US dollar. That would be absolutely perfect. So let's see if that occurs today. And let's just continue monitoring GBP USD. Yeah. Yeah. This is 7 a.m. So the 7 a.m. volume was very bearish. Oh wow, look at that. It's very interesting. Footage is super smooth this time. I can see your comment. Thank you very much. Yes, it is a little bit better this time. We had a very big latency issue. We had a very big latency issue on the last stream, so I'm glad that it has improved for this one. Yeah. Let's have a look at some lower time frame trading. Okay, so beautiful. Okay, we got quite a nice. We got these ascending lows, which is really nice. We're seeing, of course, this really big struggle happening here. I mean, I'm now just trying to make my trade, uh, my my trading. I'm just trying to make my setup seem correct, which is I want it to go to the downside. So what we could be looking at the moment is potentially very small short positions. I'd be very cautious here. I think the market also doesn't really know where it wants to go. If we see a really nice full body break on the 15-minute here, then we might be heading down to hit these levels down here. So lower time frame shorting opportunity, you can see. But if it continues into the upside, then we'll likely want to wait for that full body break and then take a long position up to this zone. GBP USD. I need to update this, don't I? Okay. I think I can do it on another platform. Move that. JPY. Okay, we can see it's pushing down a little bit more. That's good. Uh, okay, great. We're seeing a little bit of a push into the downside. That's really good. Yeah, hopefully this is going to turn bullish, bearish. Um, this is the USD JPY. Let me just zoom out. Gosh, it looks so messy at the moment, doesn't it? Yeah, I think what's happening here is that it came up to this now verified supply zone. It has come down, entered into this demand zone. It has now pushed itself up into this tap in. It's supposed to be tap in supply zone, and now and then it would likely want to push itself to hit that next low. That is what I'm looking for on USD JPY. Let me just drop into a bit of a lower frame here. Just might tap in. Uh, supply zone. So it came in, bounced, and now what are we looking to wait for? Oh, what a horrible, horrible low we need to wait for. It's a horrible low. I mean, sure, I would be kind of thinking that this might be a nice opportunity to enter into that position on the USD JPY. I'd be very cautious with this though. I'd be very, very cautious. And I think it's going to struggle. I think it's going to struggle to break this low. It's going to take a while to break that low. That's what I'm thinking. So I would maybe enter 1 to 3. Maybe enter 1 to 3. It's hard really because, as I said before, on the the DXY, we're waiting for this to go up back to that year's open, back into that zone. And because of that, it's going to have a huge impact on all of these other pairs. And that's why this should be going down. GBP is going down, which is good. Euro should be going down, which is good. It's just waiting. I'll just be waiting the most at the moment. Ooh, crude oil's gone down. My goodness, look at this. Uh, I'm not trading. I'm not trading oil, guys, but really awesome to see that. Amazing to have seen what has happened to this market since that conflict. Just look at where oil was, like $60 a barrel, and then boom, the highest it got was to what, 117, $120, and now we're just seeing this beautiful push all the way back into the downside. Um, Purely run on speculation at the moment. Absolutely incredible. S&P is definitely on its way up. Of course it is, because when the conflict becomes less um, less high stakes, then the global economy are a little bit more. Don't know why the lights keep switching out. The global economy are a little bit more relaxed, and they want to re-jump back into the equities, the stock market. And that's why we're seeing a big push on BTC USDT as well, because BTC and crypto is a very risk-on financial asset class, and because of that, the we're going to see a lot of investors re-entering back into that market because you can get higher gains from that, and uncertainty becomes more certainty. So we're seeing a lot of people pushing up the NDQ, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, BTC. Gold, I think, is in that struggle. It's still bullish. I think it's still quite bullish. Like technically, on the technicals, it is. I think it is going to come back down a little bit, and I think some people are going to want to try and take advantage of that and see what happens. All right, guys, let's head back to GBP USD. This is beginning to move really nicely down. So you want this price to come a little bit further down. And so if you were entering into a position, you'd want to try and target this area here. If you were looking too short, of course, you wouldn't really enter the market at this price point anyway. You would wait for it to kind of break structure here. I'd be very conservative though. I'd be very, very conservative. 1 to 1.3, 1 to 1.4. It's going to struggle to break this area. I think it's going to really struggle for a little bit. If it does break this area, then I think this is a more accurate place for where the price is likely going to fall to. You know, but you need to wait for confirmation. Let me just leave that there as a potential future prediction. If the price breaks below here with a full body candle break, we'll likely see it push itself to 1, 2. If it breaks through here, fantastic. Okay, let's head back to Euro USD. Oh, it's also pushing down. Remember, Euro US dollar is the biggest Forex market. It is the biggest pair that has the most volume traded every day. So this is a big trade here. Look at these horrible little candlestick wicks. I hate candlestick wicks. They are just a wick break is a weak break. That's what I always say. Yeah, I mean, if it was going to come down similar to the GBP USD, I'd be looking for something like this. Really conservative move. Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of how the market is trading these days. There's no big moves you can do at the moment. I'll leave that as a potential. Remember, you want to wait for that full body break to break. Sorry, that previous low break with a full body break. You know, and if this support doesn't hold out, then the price is likely going to continue downward to maybe around about here. But there's no full body break, so I wouldn't enter. I wouldn't do that short. Not yet. USD JPY, of course, this is going to go up. Reason it's going to go up is because, yeah, we're seeing the DXY push up. This is a good sign that it is forming it's going the way we want it to go. Nice. This is if it does go up, right? So if it does break this here with a full body candle, don't know why that's a terrible representation of a candle, but if it does break here with a full body candle, then we are likely going to head up to about here. And if the trend continues, this would become our new little DXY demand zone, and we might just see something like this. That would be my prediction. Really hope it does that, otherwise this live stream, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, you can do that good of a job. Right, so it's just a waiting game. This is one of the biggest issues about trading, is that it's a lot of it is about patience and just waiting to see where the market goes. I really enjoy trading the GU. I think the GU has, it doesn't move, it does move, of course, but it doesn't have, it's the third biggest liquid Forex market. But it's certainly one of the ones that I really enjoy trading. Also something to be aware of this week. Should be this week. Oh, it's today. Right, yeah. The GDP month on month came out today. The actual was 0.5. This is a very good indication as to why we saw that really nice push into the upside just now, but it seems to be falling back down. So I guess the market did not react as enthusiastically to the UK's GDP data as it should have done. That's odd. Uh, that means, I guess, if it does want to go up, it needs to come down and grab these little liquidity lows before pushing itself back up. Mm. Yeah, there's nothing too much in the news. 21st. Next Tuesday, unemployment data is coming out in the UK. There's no forecast for that. Retail sales, not so. I don't really look at retail sales as much. Inflation rate year over year, previous was 3. Again, there's no forecast for that either, which can be quite frustrating. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's just struggling to break. Like I said, this is why you would not enter. You would want to wait for that to be a full body break, and that will give you a nice indication that the price does want to come down. But it's just struggling here. Look at that. It's just creating this ascending trend line. Certainly see when the London session started. Look at that volume. It's massive volume pushing it, pushing the price down. Uh, okay. Oh, next 15-minute candle has come out. We can even dive a little bit lower into the 5-minute frame, I guess. We can see very nice bearish momentum here coming down. It's horrible consolidation. I hate consolidation. Gives me a headache all the time because it's just going to bounce between these two resistance and support lines. Could be seeing, it's a really far-fetched analysis, to be honest, but you could be seeing this forming, which is a bearish pennant, I believe, or a triangle. It's called just a symmetrical triangle pattern. What that represents is absolutely nothing. So that means that if the price breaks below here, it may continue. If it breaks above here, it will continue. So it means absolutely it's an indecision pattern. Very frustrating pattern. How are we looking on the DXY? It's quite interesting. On the lower frames, it played very nicely into that supply and demand theory. So pushed up, broke market structure, came back down. Now it's pushing itself back up again. So I think we are about to see the DXY push itself even higher. That'll be your tap in zone, by the way. So that's it, pushing up, coming back for a retest, and then wants to go higher. Yeah, BTC is just falling off a cliff at the moment here. Look at that. My goodness. It opened and just became super bearish very quickly. Yeah. Well, it's quite nice. I mean, as I said before, I think the price is just going to take a little bit of time. It's going to want to go in here before it moves higher. So that is playing quite nicely into what we predicted. Going back to gold on the hour, on the 15-minute. Yeah, there's not really much happening with gold at the moment. Substantial amount of volume, but still, just not much happening on the lower time frames either. Yeah. Okay, we're finally getting somewhere with the DXY. Let's see if it breaks above. If it breaks above, then we just know where the price is going to go, and then we just want to monitor what happens once it enters into this zone, and we just trade it from there. And we know we want to be short. It's why we should see the wave 4, then lower in 5. 98,200 wave 4. 98,200. Yeah, which is a... Oh, okay. So the price might go up to 98,200. And then drop down to 97.56. 97.56. So this plays nicely into what we're aiming for. Let me mark that out. 98,200. Just somebody sending me their interpretation of the markets and where they think the price is going to go on the DXY. So it's pretty interesting to kind of see that, because it does also align with what we are looking for today. 97.56. $97.56. Wonderful. 97.56. Okay, so we're waiting to kind of see. So somebody just sent me this, right? That is their trade today. Oh, pushing up there, and then coming down to this level here. Plays nicely into exactly what we are looking for on all of the other pairs that are with the USD. So if that's true, then we're not going to see this deep of a push down, I don't think. We're likely going to just see it break and come to one of these points just down here on the GBP USD before then pushing up higher and actually getting into that area. So, oh, that plays really nicely then. Yeah, that is let's hope that it does this, and then boom, that is where we want to go, and we'll enter into a long position. Hopefully there is a really shallow break of structure line that we can break, that would give us confirmation to enter into that position. That'd be really nice. So yeah, I don't. It's not gonna go there. I don't think it's gonna go there. Then I think it's gonna come down to about here. So I wouldn't. Maybe I wouldn't even enter at all. I wouldn't enter at all on that unless you want to be super conservative. Not worth the risk, really, if you think about it. But I mean, if you guys have another analysis, then obviously all is certainly an interesting concept. But yeah, I think we're gonna see that happen today. We're just gonna see that the price pushes down to around this area, and then we see a really nice push into the upside. Ooh, almost broke structure. Look at that. My goodness. Almost broke structure. Just came perfectly down to that support line on the Euro US dollar on the 5 minute frame. So it came down nice and beautifully down to there. This is nice. This is a really nice bit of manipulation. Not manipulation, but a nice fake, I think it's a fake reversal into the downside just to grab anything that is resting below here. This is such a predictable area to have your stop loss, guys. Very predictable area, you know. So I think it's just beautiful for anyone who went into a long position, especially if you took that as your confirmation on the 15-minute frame. You put your stop here, and I don't know where you would have targeted, maybe somewhere up here. What you're going to be experiencing now is that this market is coming down, it is grabbing all of this stuff that is resting below here, and will then likely want to push itself up and go to where your original TP was set. Um, that's what I think I'm seeing, but like I say, I could be wrong. Again, I'm staying out. I'm not entering into a trade until I see the DXY go approach this zone. Then I'll start looking for potential shorting positions. This also plays very, very nicely. Starting to look good, seeing any full body candle breaks, and that is a very frustrating period of time to be in. Um, yeah, what's really interesting is like GDP in the UK was surprisingly good. I mean, what's that about? You know, we have a really surprisingly good GDP data, and we didn't really see much of a surge. You know, push up. When did the data come out? 7. Oh, kind of saw a jump here, but nothing came of it. Interesting. We're finally approaching that line. Hopefully we get that full body break, guys. Ah. No, no, that support line is clearly quite strong on the lower frames. Yeah. Although we're seeing quite a lot of sell volume pushing that price down. The market does want to push it down. It's a very long waiting game, isn't it? Let's have a look at gold. Gold seems to be doing quite well. It is ignoring my analysis today. It should be going down. I think when the DXY pushes itself up, we're going to start to see this retrace back into that potential target. Let's hope. Or another play might be we see a break of structure here, and then we would take this region as our tap in zone. So it might come up here like that. It's another little play on gold. Nothing's really forming here. You can see a bit of really nice push into the upside, but then it's just consolidation, and we don't really want to trade during consolidation. We want to see some very clear breaks of structure. Yeah. Back to GBP USD. I'll drop down to the 15-minute frame. Let's head over to DXY. Seeing a little bit of movement now. It's nice. We got about another 2 more minutes until the next candle is formed, and that could be quite an aggressive candle. Let's see. Another minute. Just looking at the live news, there's nothing really coming out. So yeah, UK economy grew faster than expected. I'm certain that when the UK releases its next economic data for the next month, it's not going to look very good. You know, you'll always find that fundamentals align with technicals very nicely. So that's really good, yeah. Overall, the UK economy is not doing that great. I don't know how the UK GDP is going up. It is a welfare country, so who is generating that GDP? That's interesting. Ooh, 10 seconds. Let's see. Hopefully this next candle should push the DXY above that line. If it does, we should be moving up higher, up into that zone. Come on, candle. Okay, got a little bit of volume, a little bit of push into the upside. It's nice. Maybe when we hit that next 15-minute candle, because that would then be the hour candle as well, that might be quite nice. And I think we might just see it close above that line. And then within the next hour candle, we'll just see a huge long wick within this area, and then continue into the downside. Head back to GBP USD. Yeah, it's coming down a bit now. This is nice. Yeah, it's moving in the direction we want it to go, but what a slow day. In some ways, you kind of want slow days, but remember, it's a patience game, and if you don't have the patience, then yeah, it's going to be very hard to trade. going to be very, very hard to trade. Because imagine if you wake up this morning, you would have if you wake up this morning and then you just see all of this push into the upside, what are you going to think? You're going to think, oh, I should be going long. Which, yeah, you should, but not yet. You need other lines of confirmation. So I don't think the GBP, the GU is going to come back down to this level. I don't think it's going to happen then. I think what it is going to do is it's just going to bust through this support line. It is going to try and bust through here, and we may probably just close this trade, close this trade quickly before it hits here. So I'll just be monitoring the DXY and what a DXY is doing. You know, if it comes up here and we start to see a snap reversal, then gotta exit your trade on the GU. Can't take that risk, especially considering if it comes up and touches this 200 EMA. That is something that we have to be very careful of. Here we go. Finally, are we going to break this resistance line? Be a beautiful indication if we can. Let's head back over to gold, see what gold is doing. Hey, it's finally coming down a little bit. But actually, this is just horrible consolidation. So don't be fooled. We need to wait and see whether or not we get a really nice break here. If we get a nice break, and if you have the patience, it could come back. It might retest before heading back down to that zone I mentioned before. Although on the hour we do have this. We have this nice little demand zone. Gotta be careful on that one. Regardless, I am still short-term bearish on gold. I don't think it's going to go up higher without a pullback. So short-term bearish on gold. Euro US dollar, how are we doing? Yeah, again, we are now entering that area where we want to see a nice full body break, not a wick break. We want to see a nice full body break into the downside, and like very similar to GU, we might exit that position early. I don't think it's going to come all the way down here. And what I should do is make this an even smaller zone just to refine that entry. USD JPY must be going up by now. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh wow. If you had entered, but if you had entered, then almost got stopped out there. Burn. Yeah, the US dollar, because of where we want it to go, you're likely not going to want to enter into a short position on USD JPY until the DXY enters this area here. Okay, so you don't want to enter into any position on the USD JPY, the JU. How very frustrating. This entire stream, we've just been waiting for it to break, and it is there. It constantly goes up and tries to break that support resistance line. Very frustrating to watch. How we're looking on BTC? Yep, beautiful, beautiful. This is exactly what we expect. We also expect it to come down. like I said, I'm not trading. I don't like trading BTC, but if I were to trade, I would be waiting for the price to react within this area, and then I'd look for a long position. Right, so it's I think it's going to come down first before. I'll leave that here. I'll leave that here, just so I think when we take a look at this tomorrow on the daily market updates, we can see whether or not the price did in fact enter that zone and head back up. Same with gold, just waiting to see it do something. Come from here and then push itself back up. DXY, have we broken yet? Nope. Not there yet. Getting there very, very slowly. Yeah, it's a very slow process today. Not a lot is happening. Euro US dollar, yeah, we're doing okay here. It's just this line. Once it's broken, we're gonna see a lot. I think there is a lot of liquidity resting just below here, right? And so when it crosses this line, I think we're gonna see a really sharp reaction, and then it's gonna flutter back down a little bit, and then it's gonna go up. That's what I think might happen. Oh, finally. Finally, we have a really nice break here. That's a very nice break. Now it just needs to hold. If this break can hold, so that means the DXY is also broken. Let's see. Yes, it has. So DXY is finally broken that resistance line. This is a good indication, but it's a wick break, so we need to wait for a full body break. Before we do anything, before we can confirm that it is likely going to remain above. I'll drop down to a lower frame because lower frames can also give us a really nice indication, and because we're coming toward the end of the live streaming sessions hour. I'm not sure why these lights keep changing color. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Here we go. Like I said, there was going to be a very sharp reaction. I'm assuming the same reaction is happening on the euro. Yeah, very nice. Very sharp reaction, pushing it down. The GU is on its way down as well. Wonderful. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Now we've approached our first resistance, or your first take profit area, whichever one you want to say. That's great. I think it's going to continue coming down because on the DXY, why does this never stay in the size that I want it to? I think it still has a little bit more movement. So this is really good. Very, 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 very good. 20 seconds until 20 seconds until this candle confirms full body break. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay. So now we know, because there's a full body break into the downside. Now we know we can start to think about, okay, when's a reversal about to occur? Okay. So I'm assuming this is going to run into some resistance now. Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be a pullback, especially on a 5-minute frame, I think it's going to pull back to here and then continue. It's just what I see. This is really good anyway. So you can kind of see that the technical analysis that we're doing over here does have substance, and if you are looking to enter into these trades, then this could be a nice indication for you to go and do more research around. Certainly am quite pleased with this nice break, but as I said, I would not enter a trade. I'm not going to enter a trade until I see this come up, enter into this area here before then pushing itself back down. Beautiful. Another 3 more minutes, and we should see the 15-minute candle have a full closure break above that resistance line, and that is our indication that we are on the right track to either continue with our shorts. If you wanted to exit now, might be an interesting time, because I wouldn't keep risking. I wouldn't keep. I mean, like, this would probably be the furthest it would go, but I wouldn't trust that yet, just because we could see a reversal on the DXY quite quickly. Or at least I'll look at exiting. I'll look at the exiting once we kind of get up into this demand zone. Yeah. I think this is where it's going to go, right? A little bit of a pullback before pushing itself back up. No, it's going back below the line. Remember, the 15-minute is going to be our more substantial confirmation. So let's hope it is not a wick break. We need this body to remain above the line. So now you can understand why I would have exited that position or not really gone for the full hit. It's a very I'll just be very cautious with that one, because we know that the price wants to go up. We know the price wants to go up. The GDP economy, the data of the GDP came out very nicely. We're in an uptrend. We are in the London session, which is historically a very manipulative trading session. So we're looking for longs on the GU. We're looking for longs on the Euro US dollar. We're looking for shorts on the USD to JPY, and shorts on the DXY. So we're trying to align all of these things to tell us that our analysis is correct. Here we go. 15-minute candle. We need to see it remain above this line. Beautiful. It remained above. So there we go. Now we know that the price wants to continue up, and this is going to play very beautifully for our entry there later. So let me just do a very quick recap on everything. So the trades that we're looking at the moment is we want to short the DXY because we are in a downtrend. Let me just zoom out here so that we can see it a little bit more clearly. We're likely going to see the price enter into this area up to around the 98,200 level, and then we're going to want to short it down to this level, down to the 97,500-600 level, and then wait and see what the price does. And this kind of aligns with a lot of the liquidity that is resting below these zones here, which is really good for us to know. GBP USD, because we are looking for shorting positions on the DXY, we are looking for long positions on the USD. The USD JP, the GU. So at the moment, on the short-term period, we're looking for that. We're in that short, likely come out of that short very soon, and we will then start to look for long positions into the upside, targeting this previous liquidity or supply zone. So that's the play for the GU, very similar to the play that we have for the Euro US dollar. Let me just zoom out a little bit here, drop out to the 4-hour frame. And so again, we are just going to wait and enter into a long position. We'll likely want to target some of these highs up here, or even go as high as here, which would be quite interesting. So again, looking for longs on GU, Euro. We're looking for shorts on the USD, JPY. This actually might come up a little bit more before then pushing itself down. So I am hopefully we are going to see the DXY play out, and all these others will play out very nicely. BTC, we're waiting for that to come down as well. Once it comes down into this unverified demand zone, we will then look for a change of break of structure into the upside, and then enter into a long position for that. So I am looking for long positions there. On gold, I am looking for a short-term short position. I would be also a little bit cautious. It could just be a shallow pullback before pushing higher, and then looking for a long on the higher time frames on gold. So I'm still quite bullish on gold at the moment. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I think we've covered everything. We'll try and in the future, we'll try and extend these sessions to be a little bit longer because we, of course, want to stay with the market for a good amount of time to see our trades play out. But thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next live streaming session. Bye for now.